Hey man, what it is, this is Deem and I am your host, and this is By Any Means. There go to Cash App, $ Dean by any means. There go to PayPal, at Dean by any means. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. I don't care if you leave $1, $10, $1,000. It's much, much, much appreciated. Hey, y'all, I want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. And y'all know when I started off like that, you going to get this good cook. Let me take a sip of this coffee first. Let's go. I want all cheaters out the sport of boxing. Not some. It's y'all that have that selective outrage. And that's my biggest problem. Y'all pick and choose when it's okay for somebody to go through testing and to go through the steps, and when it's not okay for somebody to do the same exact thing just because you don't like them. I have been proven right from day one. Let's take it back to the beginning. Shout out to my guy, manager Marty, because he plays a major factor in what I am about to say. Earl Spence got beat up by Terrence Crawford. And this is when the snack and all of that stuff, manager Marty first started bringing that to light on YouTube. Reason why I say on YouTube, because manager Marty and somebody that has not given me no reason to believe anything that he has been saying has not been true, because I haven't caught him in a lie yet. He's been talking about this behind the scenes prior to having a YouTube channel. So you already know. But when Terrence Crawford got beat up, when Earl Spence got beat up and this first came to light, me and manager Marty had an in-depth conversation. The first time we really connected as far as on YouTube, right? I like Earl Spence. Y'all all know what happened to Earl Spence, but I didn't want to be making excuses for Terrence Crawford being victorious, right? Not saying that manager Marty was making excuses, because he wasn't. Because actually, he was leaning towards Terrence Crawford, I believe, before the fight anyway. So let's go back to how this all began. My biggest stance was, and shout out to manager Marty again, because he's giving me credit for this publicly. Unlike a lot of other people will not give Dane that same credit publicly, knowing that I've brought certain things to light and been saying this on panels, on different YouTube channels, on a bunch of different things, not just this topic, like Ryan Garcia going to fight Sandor Martin and Ryan Garcia. Never mind, you already know. My biggest thing was, forget once they say ding ding and go in the ring. If they didn't pop dirty, they didn't find this blah. I don't care about none of that. Don't sign the contract. Where we should be putting all the onus on is these testing agencies that are supposed to be protecting the fighter. What are you there for if you can't catch cheaters? What are you there for if you can't catch cheaters? If there's stuff that's undetectable, don't you think you need to be discovering ways to detect it? We know what planets are light years away from us, but we can't find ways to get to find undetectable substances that's not supposed to be there anyway. Because then if that's all the way true, then why are y'all testing people's supplements? If it's undetectable, that means that it wouldn't be in there. There's no point to test the supplements if it's undetectable. I'm just saying. Just to come find out months and months and months later that Victor Conte, the guy we was talking about then, when I had this same stance that he should not be a part of the sport of boxing, period, comes to find out things I didn't know then. When I was putting all of the onus on the testing agencies, he helped create one of them, one of the major ones, VADA. Admittedly helped put it all together. He was the puppet master of creating VADA. So y'all be like, Dean, he ain't a part of VADA. You don't know that. The only part that we do know is that he's the puppet master of putting the people that run VADA together. It was his idea. Let him tell it. So my biggest thing is, y'all, I've been proven right this whole time that all the owners need to go on testing agencies. How can we trust testing agencies when people that have already cheated in the sport of boxing is part of it, and know your regimens and know when you test, know what you test for, how you test for it? Well, don't that mean that somebody who is a quote unquote expert that knows how to circumvent tests and he knows all of your procedures, don't that mean that it'd be easier for him to just get away with it? It's not like he haven't been trying for the last, I don't know, 40 years of his life. I don't have no proof that he's not cheating. I only got proof that he has done it. That's the only proof that I got. I ain't got no proof. We don't know for sure about none of that because let them tell it is undetectable. So how could we know? You got to pick an argument. Is it undetectable or not? Because if it's undetectable, that means that we can't find out, right? Undetectable means that you can't, if you test for it, it won't come up. Then what's the point of testing for it? See, y'all want Ryan Garcia out the sport of boxing. I have no problem with that. Can we get everybody that was this Ryan Garcia out the sport of boxing? Caneloalvarez, y'all still buy his pay-per-views. Me too. Guilty of doing it because I run a boxing channel. But the problem is, y'all have allowed this. So how can I talk about boxing but not even talk about Canelo? But where Dean has been very consistent on, if you've been watching my content, Canelo will never be on my pound for pound list. Do y'all hear me talk about Tyson Fury? Anybody raise your hand once, twice? Do I care about Tyson Fury? What about Oscar Valdez? I'm just saying that's just small examples. That's just small examples. See, my problem is all of them should be out of the sport of boxing. Forget being suspended. You should be gone, period. How they did Pete Rose in baseball. You cheat severely in the sport of boxing where you did something. Forget betting. Forget trying to whatever else you can do in cheating box. You are literally putting somebody else's life in jeopardy. Didn't Deontay Wilder disable a man in the ring where he'll no longer be the same? How many boxers have passed away in the sport of boxing? How many? You can't play with this. My stance is all of them should be gone. Bill Haney agrees with me, but he only agrees with me when it comes to Ryan Garcia, not victorconte. That's my problem. You can't defend Terrence Crawford, devinhaney, and their association with victorconte, but then be the number one person shouting at the top of the hill that you'd want other cheaters in the sport of boxing and not be a part of it at all, and not get that same redemption story, and not be given the same grace, and not be given the same opportunity to come back and be a part of the sport of boxing, no different than victorconte, Alicia Baumgartner, Tyson Fury, Canelo Alvarez, Oscar Valdez. No different. So if you fine with them being a part of the sport of boxing and going about their career, then you shouldn't be saying Ryan Garcia should be out of the sport of boxing, whether they suspend him or not. And that's the problem that I have with the hypocrisy in the boxing community. Don't try to come over to my stance. That been my stance. That people should be out of the sport of boxing for cheating, not yours. You're fine with somebody cheating in the sport of boxing and still dealing with them as long as they tell you that they changed their life. That's all they got to do is tell you that they changed their life. That's all they got to do. Bank robbers can change their life. They can't become a bank teller. Drug dealers, they change their life. They can't become a pharmacist. People who got multiple DUIs, they could stop drinking and change their life. They could never be a school bus driver, though. Y'all got selective outrage, not Dean. From day one, I've been talking about the testing agencies need to be held more accountable. From day one, I've been saying that. Absolutely. From day one, I've been saying a cheater shouldn't be nowhere near the sport of boxing. Forget a suspension. Don't tell me I got revisionist history. Look at my prior content about how I feel about Canelo-Alvarez and Tyson Fury. If you have heard me on different boxing channels, then you know how I feel about this. But what I won't do is other fighters be allowed grace and be allowed rules and be allowed things to go on about their career. But I'm supposed to be sitting up here and not let Ryan Garcia get the same thing. But best believe Ryan Garcia gets suspended and they find out that they can't say that he didn't do it unintentionally. He getting cooked like everybody else. Like the first video I dropped when he first popped dirty. Because my keyword was if. He don't do everything he need to do to prove that he's innocent. If it comes back that he's suspended, this is how I feel about it. That part won't change. Mr. Consistency, absolutely. Canelo Alvarez never be on my pound for pound list. Ever. I'll never say he the greatest this and the greatest that. That's why I don't have Canelo Alvarez as the face of boxing. I don't care how many pay-per-views he sell. But Canelo Alvarez is a prime example that y'all have selective outrage because his success has not stopped, not even a little bit, in the sport of boxing. Getting suspended, popping dirty, and all. Nothing has changed for that man. Y'all not shouting to the heavens to get Canelo removed from the sport of boxing. Don't be doing that to Ryan Garcia. That's my problem. Because if you ask me, everybody, all of them, if you get suspended for having PEDs in you and they can't find out that it is unintended that you did that you ain't do it purposely. And that's why I put the onus on the testing agencies, because I needed to be very clear. I need y'all to have things in place to know if this was intentional or not. Y'all testing to be even more stringent. So then if somebody does pop dirty and y'all wind up going through all of the procedures and find out that you could be decisive that he did it on purpose or not, because then either or we can deal with it then. If he did it on purpose, out of the sport of boxing. If he didn't, then we could keep going ahead and go about and life continues. Y'all already know what this is, right? Deem by any means. And I holla at y'all.